One that I kind of wanted an answer to. Evan wrote, is the voting public willing or able to research each candidate in an election? Amanda, what are your thoughts on that?
I think if we...
Well, they ought to be.
I mean, if we got rid of party labels, the public would have to really step up and become a much more informed citizenry. And we see this a lot right now in local elections. You don't really know where they stand, and so you see a lot of people either not vote or maybe just pull the lever for someone. So if we do get rid of party label, I think people will have to step up. Whether or not they're ready, we'll see. But right now, I don't think they're up to the task.
And Governor, did you want to weigh in on that?
Well, they ought to be ready. What is more important? What affects you? That's why the Democrats and Republicans are worse than the street gangs, and I'll tell you why. Okay, the Crips and the Bloods do bad things in their neighborhoods where they're located. The Democrats and Republicans affect every single citizen in this entire country. So why shouldn't the people be required to educate themselves and take a more active role? If they don't, we're going to lose the country. We're already going down that path.
Governor, do you get the sense, though, that it's less about typical apathy and more about just a complete feeling of helplessness? I mean, I look at, in your book, you talk about the financial fraud with mortgages that devastated America, and the biggest whistleblowers that came out at Countrywide Financial and said everything that they had uncovered, nothing meaningful happened to the people that they implicated. You look at what's going on Wall Street. You look at what happened today with the Supreme Court. I mean, major outrage over Citizens United, yet the Supreme Court obviously isn't listening. So don't Americans look at that and say, this is too big for me. I'm depressed. I can't handle it.
Well, the problem is we've allowed them to brainwash us. We've allowed them to make us think that we work for them. The bottom line is they're supposed to work for us. And we need somebody to come back and make people realize that. They work for us. We don't work for them. And, of course, mainstream media in the United States, they're no help because all they are, they're part of it. They were supposed to be the fourth branch of government, the unwritten branch that was supposed to inform and make the public intelligent of what the other three branches of government are doing. They're failing miserably because mainstream media today is into creating the news and entertaining you rather than reporting the news and making you more intelligent.
Governor, do you think that's something that social media has helped with? There are so many more outlets now where you can go get your news, outlets around the world. You can look at what's going on social media, and you can get more perspectives. You don't think so?
No, not at all. I heard Dan Rather talk the other day about it. He said 25 years ago you had 40 independent media outlets in this country. Due to corporate takeover, even your books. Simon & Schuster are owned by a big corporation. HarperCollins owned by the same people that own Fox News. Dan Rather said you're down to 4 now. 4 major corporations control all the media in this country.
So you don't think, what about things like blogs, Twitter, these independent citizen reporters who are out there and may not have had voices even back decades ago?
Well, they're our only hope. The internet, and you're already going to lose that. I showed that in my last book. Did you know the president has a switch now where anytime he wants to, he can shut down the internet with a flip of a switch?
Well, on that note, Say It on Twitter says, LOL, fair and balanced cannot be in the same sentence with U.S. media unless the word not is in between. With that, let's go straight to Google+. Aaron has a question. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I'm building on Mark's question and some of Lisa's comments. You identify the GOP and the Dems as rival gangs that are under control of corporate and banking interests. And you say they all need to be thrown out and replaced. And I have a lot of sympathy for this characterization, and I bet a lot of American people do as well. But I wanted to push back on it because I think it's not quite complete. First of all, I don't think that they're actually rivals. I think they're actually more like mutually beneficial parasites. But that's another story altogether.
Let me interject.
Go ahead.
Let me interject. I've compared them to pro wrestling. In front of the crowd, they're adversaries. Behind the scenes, they're going to dinner and they're working together to solidify and complete their power. You're right on with that. But I understand that. It's in my book also.
Yeah. So what I really want to push back on is this idea that replacing the people in charge is really going to solve things. So I mean this both in politics and in business as well. So in your book, you say, and I quote, I love Wall Street. I just don't like the crooks and the conspirators who run it. And I guess my question is, does changing the people in places really solve the problem? It's not like swapping out the bosses and the capos makes the mafia any different than the mafia, right? Is there a more systemic?
Well, you got to do something, don't we?
Value system?
Okay, offer me another alternative. If you don't replace them, that's a start. We got to start somewhere, and you're not going to start with. You're not going to start with major wholesale changes. You got to erode them the same as the way they came into power and the way they're eroding the people's authority in this country. The people don't matter anymore unless we take our country back.
Governor, have things politically skidded off the track so much that the system is essentially obsolete?
The system, like I said, is based completely on bribery. Now, if we do bribery in the private sector, we go to jail. But it's alive and well. Look at how I was always amazed on congressmen and senators. If they're not millionaires when they go in, they come out millionaires. Well, in my book, I show why. Insider trading. The average senator and congressman makes 12% on the stock market. That's higher than Warren Buffett. Again, if we do insider trading, we go to jail. If they do it, it's fine. We have to eliminate the double standard. Let's look at health care. All right, you got them railing about government-run health care. Well, what do veterans get? Veterans get government-run health care, and it seems to work for them. If it's so bad, why do we give it to veterans? And congressmen and senators get 5 choices. 5 choices of whatever health care plan they want, run by the government. What do we get? We're lucky if we get 1.
All right, Governor, I'm going to have to hold you right there.
That citizens get.
We're going to hold you right there, and we're going to continue this discussion in our online post.